Yo, what's up, guys? We're coming with another podcast. It's your boy Fudo. It's your boy. Clap me up, Johnny. Clap me right the fuck up, Johnny. Hell yeah,
clap,
dude.
Clap, 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 clap.
It's your boy Fudo. It's your boy Mathman200. Say hello.
Hello, hello.
It's your boy Reexample. Say what up.
Hello, clap, clap, clap.
All right, Ho, buddy.
I'm getting tired.
Ho, just say hi.
Hi.
Okay. All right, so today's podcast, we're going to be touching base on add-ons, like killer add-ons, okay? Now, there's like a huge problem in this game right now, where killer add-ons are fucking insane. Like, they're nuts. Like, okay, the difference between playing certain killers, cough, cough, Huntress, cough, cough, with no add-ons, as compared to certain add-ons, like cough, cough, iridescent head, Babushka with Mana Grass Braid Tinker is like ridiculous. Like, it's nuts. The amount of power that it provides and like the lack of counterplay that it gives the survivors is fucking nuts. So the podcast today, we're going to go through all the killers and we're going to touch base on their add-ons, and we're going to talk about what is problematic, what is like okay sounding, you know, and what could even be buffed to make them more balanced. There's definitely some problematic ones, like I just said with Huntress. I mean, you could say the same thing about maybe 5 Blink Nurse, maybe Insta Saw Billy. There's a lot of problematic ones, but we're just gonna go in order. We're gonna start with Trapper, and Trapper's one of the more his add-ons are honestly probably some of the most balanced. So we're gonna start with Trapper, and there won't be much controversy there, but we're gonna get into every killer, and we'll touch base on their add-ons and talk about what's problematic and what's not. All right. So we're just gonna hop right into Trapper, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so I guess we'll just go from rarest to most common, because the most common ones are usually not really anything. So Diamond Stone. I mean, if anybody doesn't know what Diamond Stone does, you step in the trap, you're downed. Even if you escape the trap, you're downed. It's not like you can escape and walk away all injured and you can get first strike. You're just downed, no matter what. So he basically just doesn't even have to come get you. He can just leave you there and just keep doing whatever he's doing, because he knows that you're not going to get up and walk away.
Personally, I think that Diamond Stone is a great, it's like a quintessential what an ultra rare should strive to be. It's very strong, but it's not, I would think in the eyes of the survivor being like, okay, this is super unfair. It's like, I stepped in this trap. You know what I mean? He is running a Diamond Stone, but that's just a very, very good add-on.
I agree. I think it's totally fine. I don't think it's...
Then again, that's also because it's... If you think about it, Diamond Stone is basically, quote-unquote, the same thing as Iridescent Head. It's just that the powers, just because they work so much differently.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing, though. Hitting a person with a hatchet is millions times easier than getting someone to stop. The fact of the matter is that getting someone into a trap as Trapper is kind of a big deal, and sometimes you can have entire games where it doesn't even happen at all, you know what I mean, if you get really unlucky, or if you're just a bad trapper like myself. But and you could also have games where maybe 5 or 6 people step in, but still, I mean, it's a very it's a kind of rare thing. You have to set it up, and they have to be the ones to fall for it. It's through their misplay, whereas with other one-shot downs like hatchets, the survivors really have to misplay. A good Huntress will find a way to land a hatchet at some point, and there's not really much that a survivor can do about it, So, right. Yeah, and I kind of also agree that if you step in a trap, you're usually pretty fucked anyway. I kind of agree with that as well. I feel even if he doesn't have Diamond Stone, you step in a trap, he's probably just gonna come get you, unless you get out first try and he's miles away across the map, So
right, Diamond Stone provides 2 states of health pressure that the Trapper otherwise wouldn't have. So I think it's a really good add-on, and I don't think that it inflates the mechanic of the killer too bad. Trapper isn't a high tier killer, so this ultra rare doesn't really play to his mechanic, and it's not something you're going to be seeing every single second in the game, unlike other ones.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool.
All right. These are interesting ones. Okay, bloody coil tremendously increases the bear trap sabo time. Slightly increases the setting time of the bear trap. Moderately decreases the bear trap sabotage skill check, and it stacks. It's affected by Tinker. Basically, it's an anti. It makes the traps take longer to set, but they're harder to sabo, which is like I don't. I'm gonna go ahead and say with this, we'll go ahead and touch base on all of them. Same thing with oily coil, which is the same thing, but it's moderately. And then the same thing with what is it? Secondary coil, which is just moderately. And then I think there's like a original, yeah. There's strong coil spring to it. It's all the same thing. It's basically all the same thing. Actually, strong coil spring does not do the same thing. That increases difficulty to escape. But regardless, all the anti-sabo ones. Is wax brick still a thing too? Wax brick is still a thing.
Yeah, wax
oh my
brick is
god.
still in there.
Yeah, there's all these add-ons that are like anti-sabo. There's literally like 4 of them.
These add-ons are some patch 1.1 shit.
Yeah.
1.0
like-
even, like, it's the bad.
Yeah, this is like when Sabo was relevant.
Yeah, we should probably say that. If you guys don't know, like back when this game first came out, Sabo was a big deal. Like survivors were like, holy shit, if we level Jake, we could destroy all the killer's stuff. This is amazing. And then also hooks didn't respawn, so if you saboed all the hooks, they were all down for the whole map. And then you basically had to carry people to basement or you couldn't get a hook at all. And because people were already saboing, if they would get a trapper, they would just sabo all of his traps, you know what I mean? And you know, then you'd be left with nothing. And also the sabo time back then was also decreased. It was like super quick. It was like 8 seconds or something if you weren't running add-ons. It was fucking nuts. So
something that I was gonna say, I really detest these add-ons. I don't like any of the coils. I don't like the 4-part spring. I don't like any of the oily coils or the bloody coils. I think a good change to these add-ons would be something that would increase the untrap time. So maybe not the survivor's chance of getting out, but simply disarming the trap in general, because I think it's really frustrating for a trapper to go and set a trap, especially if it takes longer, and just have it be popped in like a second or a little more than a second.
yeah, I agree. And to be honest, I don't know why they even nerfed the whole, like, traps used to be disarmed in what, like 5 seconds, and then they changed it to
Right.
2.5 seconds. And I think they changed it because of the whole trapping under hooks being an issue, but they also patched that out the same patch. So like trapping under hooks was not a problem anymore, but then they also made it so that the traps get disarmed super. I agree. I think that would be sick. I think that is a huge thing. Like having your traps disarmed so quickly, and like having them being able to undo what you just did so fast.
I think base disarm times are just too quick in general.
Yeah,
Changed.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
add-ons for it, I do like, and I suggested it years ago because it's a really cool idea. You know, instead of fucking, you know, if you're gonna like, I don't understand the anti-sabo add-ons. Those could all be, you know, your sabo or your traps take longer to disarm instead because they made inherent normal sabotage speeds on trap 14 seconds from 6 seconds. So it was a pretty big deal for that as well.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would like to see it so that traps weren't even able to be saboed at all, or maybe make some kind of a system where, like, if a trap gets saboed, it also respawns in like 3 minutes. Like another trap will randomly spawn on the map in 3 minutes or something, kind of like hooks. You know, like if you're gonna make them saboable, I think they should be temporarily saboable. You know what I mean? I don't think you should be able to eliminate all of a killer's ability through like, I don't know. I know it takes time to do or whatever, and that's time you're not doing gens and stuff, but like still, I don't think any trapper wants to play a game without traps. Like that fucking sucks. You know what I mean?
Dude, who doesn't want to play your friendly neighborhood cloakless Wraith?
Dude, right?
Your friendly neighborhood buff cloakless Wraith. Yeah. There
So yeah,
So I'll moderately disagree, just because I think that nerfs Sabo. I enjoy Sabo as a killer. Like if people are taking the time to Sabo my traps, I will push onto the point of that's not them doing gens. So I'll say I don't mind it, but in terms of these add-ons, I think that it should be less focused on survivors escaping the trap itself and less time on the Sabo and a little more on maybe the disarm time. Or they should add in a not like a disarming a double trap, you know, like something that just like makes it harder to disarm or something, or just boost it. across the board.
I think they can make it take longer to disarm, and I also would like the idea of once you're in the trap, instead of like increasing the likelihood of them staying in the trap or decreasing like the RNG aspect, I think maybe just making it so that the actual struggle bar of you trying to struggle out takes longer, you know? So that way, like, you know, like once you get them in the trap, you're more likely to keep them in the trap, you know? I mean, I think something like that would, I mean, adding sabo time is very rarely, like, I think nowadays especially, very rarely you're gonna go into a trapper game being like, these guys are gonna sabo my traps, I need to put on bloody coil, you know, like, how many times does that ever happen? Like, pretty much, like literally never, yeah. So I think giving it that,
don't think, yeah.
And this is a very rare add-on too. This is a second add-on that we're hitting on his, like, you know, this is supposed to be like one of his best add-ons, you know, and it literally does nothing pretty much. So yeah, I would definitely love.
Which is why I say, you know, very rarely will you see survivors saboing, but very, very consistently you will see survivors going to disarm traps that have been like watching you set these traps and taking time out of your nice killer day. And then when they walk over and see that, oh shit, this takes 10 seconds to disarm, he's running bloody coil. You know, like, I can't spend time following this guy around and disarming all his traps. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
I think I'm just because let's try not to spend half an hour on every killer here.
Yeah. That's why I was trying to move on. Yeah. I kind of realized we've been on 2 add-ons for like 10 minutes. So let's keep moving.
It's just like next one, honing stone. It's like, why is there a 50%?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that is pretty dumb, right? Honing stone is basically a diamond stone with a RNG chance. I don't know why.
Just make it. I think something like maybe make honing stone so when you get out of the trap, you get put into a borrowed time bleed out timer. You know, so it doesn't necessarily force you, like, you won't be down, but it forces you to heal, you know, on the spot. That could be something they could consider.
That might even be stronger than Diamond Stone to me, in my opinion. I don't know, man.
Maybe we can just talk about the add-ons per category. So we've already talked about the stones.
Yeah. Like,
it's just like 50%.
Yeah, we did talk about all the coils. They're all the same, just with slight number differences.
True. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Stitch Bag and Trapper Bag are just adding traps.
Fantastic good add-ons.
Best add-ons.
Yeah,
I think those are the best add-ons.
Yeah, like Trapper Bag should probably be default in my opinion.
I think even Stitched Bag could be default, personally. I don't think Trapper's that strong to where those add-ons are, like, warranted for, like, not... Like having one trap is just such a time, like, pain, suffering, because you're not... Like, you just don't... You have to run around to pick up new traps to set them all. And so you just don't have the time to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bitch. I think that's the biggest problem with Trapper.
Yeah, I agree. Is that you spend way too much time walking around the map. Plus, by having a base 3 traps instead of 1, for example, that would also mean you have more traps on the map in general, which also makes Sabo less effective, which, you know, it means you're going to have more traps to use because, you know, if it does get Saboed, you're still going to have resources. You know, you have an extra 2 to start by default. So it also does help in that area.
Yeah, it's just, as you said, math, man. Like, Trapper takes way too long to set up, and then the stuff he set up isn't even that powerful to begin with because it just gets disarmed in 3 seconds. It's so easy to spot, so yeah.
Yeah, so Stitch Bag is, I mean, like, super good add-on. I think it balances Trapper. So
I do too, and that's why I think I'd love to see it. But yeah, those 2 add-ons really good.
Really good shit. Fastening Tools is basically the same. It's anti-Sabo. I mean, we already talked about it. It has a little bit of an increase in disable time, which is cool. And I think they should put that in more of the anti-Sabo shit. But it's basically anti-Sabo, which is the same thing. Yeah, it's just not really worth. All right, Rusted Jaws, which is basically you step in a trap, you get mangled. That's pretty straightforward. I think that's totally fine. Like, right? That pretty much. I feel like that almost goes in line with like Diamond Stone. You know, like you stepped in the trap, now you're mangled. You know, it's not like it's something you can't avoid. You stepped in the trap, now you're mangled. There's nothing really wrong with that. I think most of Trapper's add-ons are fine. This one included.
Does mangled go away when you heal?
I don't know.
What if mangled stayed for the entire game?
It used
for
to.
Rusted Jaws. For Rusted Jaws.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be pretty
If
cool.
it does go away with heal, I personally don't like that because I think it's just like you got someone in a trap, you know, and it's like although you might not get much out of it, you know, at least they're like their healing's done. So it's almost in the sense of like Diamond Stone that you don't need to be there for the effect to happen and to be useful. And I do like that.
So you'd be for Rusted Jaws just playing Mangled for the rest of the game if you step into it?
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Something interesting that I just thought of that... Never mind. I'll get to it when we get to the next two add-ons. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
The next add-on is setting tools. We can put in trap setters and trapper gloves with them as well, which is basically just straightforward. Traps take longer or take less time to set. You just set them faster. That's it. Very good add-ons because like time efficiency is super important. So like these are, I mean these aren't. But again, we're talking like this whole podcast is supposed to be on problematic add-ons, and none of these are problematic so far.
Can you guys imagine that? Because if anyone remembers, Trapper got like a big quality of life update at one point where they basically like doubled the speed of all of his animations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So setting traps took even longer than it takes now, and it's still pretty slow.
Yeah, I mean,
Jesus.
But yeah, I mean, those are just solid, good add-ons. I don't think I've
I just want to add one thing, just as like a general thing that I think that speed increase add-ons for killer powers are awesome, fantastic, like healthy add-ons on anyone that doesn't have an add-on that directly influences a chase. For example, you know, like that ends chases quicker. So like anyone's power that can be used to make chases end quicker because of charge time, I think that's where it's problematic, and that's why I really like trappers. Is because it just saves you time out of chases, which means you have more time to spend in chases and getting around the map to get your traps.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's an important.
That's
a very important thing to keep in mind from like a dev point of view. I think
I just wanted to give that as like a. That's why I think these add-ons are good, but if we get into ones later, why we would consider them bad, and we'll get onto that obviously later. I just wanted to clarify that now before I forget, because I'm an idiot.
Okay.
But for now, I think we're gonna move on to Wraith, right? I think we covered basically everything.
I mean,
did we talk about the dart traps?
I was gonna make we
can talk about
interesting,
dart traps, but they're like
just like a little spicy thought, and it's probably gonna just get downshot. But so the tar and the logwood dye and stuff, I like those add-ons. I like the dark traps and stuff. But I was thinking if there's a ultra rare or like very rare for a trapper to make it like uber camouflage, like almost translucent traps, where you aren't required to put things in bushes anymore or anything like that. Like it would force maybe survivors that are running small game or people to check doorways or any window ceilings, like things like that. So they can't guarantee if someone's running a camouflage trap that there isn't something there. I don't know.
That would be spicy, dude.
That would be a little hot.
I feel like that might be fun as shit, but also maybe fucking
awful.
I feel like
awful,
I feel like that add-on could work if the survivors somehow get notified that he's running it. Because I feel like if you don't know that he's running it, and you just step into a trap that you could have done nothing against, stepping into it, then I feel like that's a little problematic.
My thing is with Trapper, I want, and this probably is already considered by a lot of survivors, but I want there to be a constant paranoia where you can't take for granted that just because you don't see something doesn't mean that it's not trapped. And I'm not saying like invisible stuff, I guess, but like I want more of a paranoia when you're playing against a trapper where it's just like, oh shit, did he trap this stuff? You know, like, but like I don't want people to just look at a bush and just go like, there might be a trap in there. Like I'd want it to be more than that. I'm just thinking of how to bring trapper up into the better gameplay, because you don't see a lot of trappers anymore, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like that's like if you describe trapper in one sentence, I think that's what.
Yeah, I feel like that would be more of like a buff general trapper rather than just make an add-on. You know what I mean?
True.
Okay, we're gonna move on, and as a matter of fact, I think we should maybe change the way we do this because we just spent 20 minutes on Trapper, who doesn't even really have any issues himself. Like all of his add-ons are fine, right? And we spent 20 minutes on him, so I think what we should do. Yeah, that's why I said
we should probably start with the problematic ones.
Well, I think what we should do is we should just go hit up every killer and then only really talk about. Well, like we should talk about the ones that are not okay, like the ones that either need buffed because they do nothing, or the ones that are problematic because they're too strong, right? I think those are the ones that we should hit. Everything else, like for instance, I'm on Wraith right now, and this we probably won't have much to say about this guy. Like maybe a little, okay? All seeing is pretty straightforward and totally fine. It helps you find people. Like Blind Warrior helps you against flashlights. That's totally fine.
I think Blind Warrior is too shit and should be replaced because they increase default burn time.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I can agree. I think it could do something else, especially as an ultra rare.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion, is that if they want one light burn, just make one of them and make it immune, but don't make it pink, because I don't think it's worth it. I would say green or purple if you really want to keep one, but I don't think you need 5 of the exact same add-on at 5 different rarities that does the exact same thing.
I agree, yeah.
I think Wraith's add-ons are just a victim of the devs completely overestimating how strong his add-ons actually are going to be.
Yeah.
It's like, as Matthew just said, the light immunity one is an ultra rare and it's pretty meh.
So the three that I would centrally focus on are reappearance, disappearance, and windstorm, because those are what makes a Wraith powerful in game.
Agreed, but they're not okay. Like kind of say this real quick. Like they are the best. Like I think purple windstorm, green swift hunt is usually people's like go-to for best add-ons. Right? You reappear faster. Then after you reappear, you have a big speed boost.
Right.
But even that, like I don't think there's any combination of add-ons for Wraith that's like broken. You know, I don't think I've ever played a Wraith with certain add-ons and I'm like, oh my god, he has these add-ons. Ugh, you know, like that's never happened. I think all of his add-ons are either balanced or too weak. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna disagree with that because you're saying the add-ons are too weak. Sorry, go on. But yeah, I don't think the add-ons are too weak. That's my argument. I think Wraith is too weak.
Okay, you're right.
I just wanted to chime in that did no one catch that? Come on.
Chime because it's a Wraith. Okay, come on. Come on. Say what you gotta say.
I wanted to say, even because I think I agree, because even if you run green Swift Hunt and yellow Swift Hunt together with Tinker, it still feels pretty balanced to play. It's not like ridiculous. I feel like
I agree. Honestly, I'm going to agree with Mathman here. I'm going to take back my other statement and say that like assuming Wraith was a little bit more powerful, I think his add-ons would be like perfect as far as like what add-ons should be. Like even his very strongest combination does make him stronger, but it's not like oppressively stronger, you know? And like And you could always like you know like mix and mash some other shit, like even like Blink, like the whole like disappearance time being faster isn't like useless, you know, like not a lot of his add-ons are useless. Maybe like Ghost, you know what I mean, but like there's not a lot of his add-ons that are like useless, you know what I mean? Like
I agree. I like them. Good solid baseline. They did a really good job, other than Lightburn, in my opinion. That's it.
I think Lightburn is pretty much the one that's the only one that's really problematic.
And that's what I did like about the Wraith rework, is they buffed some of the worst add-ons. They made the All-Seeings better. You know, they made base Lightborn a thing, like better, so you're base Lightburn better, so you don't get burned as often. I just think if Wraith was better, all of his add-ons would feel a lot better, you know, and that's why I like it.
I agree. I think we're going to move on. Do we have anything else to say?
Yep.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, Billy, he's got a lot of interesting shit.
First problematic boy. In my opinion.
Yeah,
a lot of problems here.
Yeah, I agree. I think Billy is the most balanced killer in the game, but then you slap a few add-ons on him, and then he's
Man,
I'm gonna say no add-on Billy is the most balanced killer in the game.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so
first point out that he doesn't have an ultra rare.
Yeah. He doesn't have an ultra rare, which is interesting. Interesting that Carburetor Tuning Guide is one of the strongest add-ons in the fucking game, and it's rare. So that's also interesting.
Yep.
Okay,
and
so
Thompson mix.
Also,
and
the
Thompson mix.
The first thing I want to say for Billy, and that's what really grinds my gears here, is that Billy has the ability to just completely negate the need to actually be good and using the chainsaw to have a lot of success with the killer. And I think that's one of the biggest problems for add-ons for some killers. It's
I think
like,
there's a difference between hitting the survivor with the chainsaw and charging it. So I might disagree with what you're saying right now.
Yeah, I don't even know
mean-
what you're trying to say, to be honest with you.
you don't need to be like good at Billy if you just run Instasaw, is what I'm trying to say. You can just shit on people with Instasaw.
I mean, you can juke into saws if you know
I
it.
agree.
If you're
man.
I feel
I'm not
like
saying
most
they're
abilities, like,
unjukeable, just it takes a lot of the skill floor down.
well, yeah, for
It really
sure.
lowers the bar.
Be-
and that's
because-
what I don't like.
Yeah, because especially if you're running Tuning Guide and Thompson mix, even if you miss, you get to try again in like a fucking half a second.
Yes.
Yes,
But
that's what I mean.
But
That's
anyway,
the
we
issue.
need to actually get into what we're talking about, okay? So
Yeah, okay.
the actual problem we're talking about, Instasaw, is basically Tuning Guide and either, okay, it's any of these add-ons. Like there's Tuning Guide, there's Thompson Mix, there's Primer Bulb. You can even throw in like even a Tuning Guide and like a spark plug with like Tinker is fucking nuts. Like, it makes a charge time, I don't even know what the regular charge time is, like 3 seconds-ish maybe, and it takes it to like a second maybe. It's fucking nuts. It makes it so fast. Like, it's insane. And especially
So I was gonna say the true Instasaw, right, is carburetor, tuning guide, and primer bulb, right?
With
Yeah.
Tinker, yeah.
With
Yeah.
Tinker.
However, the difference between like the Thompson mix and the primer bulb, I would say you'd get a lot more benefits from the Thompson mix because of the bullshit cooldown. And that is
Yeah.
another problem, is cooldown is way too high on that add-on. And makes it so if you miss a chainsaw, just wait 0.5 seconds, you can go again. And with how the speed curve works of coming out of the cooldown, it theoretically and technically speeds you up because of the fact that you have a faster cooldown. You're no longer walking at the slower movement speed for as long of a time. Instead, your speed ramps up quicker, so you also create less distance lost from missing a chainsaw there.
yeah, it's honestly, cooldown is
Yeah, that's
really
what I
strong.
mean.
I think people don't realize
like
how strong
these-
cooldown is.
These amateurs, they take what's punishing about missing a chainsaw and just remove it. You're like no longer
Yep.
really punished for missing the chainsaw, and that's where it like really lowers the bar for being good at Billy.
Yeah, and I also want to say, like, I guess if we're talking from someone who might not realize how powerful this is, like, having the chainsaw charge time go from like 3 solid seconds to, I don't, these numbers aren't correct. I don't know what exactly is correct.
Their estimates.
Yeah, but it is an estimate of around 3 seconds to around 1 second. That means that as a Billy, if you're chasing a survivor, if they're within 3 seconds of like a pallet or a window, you can't chainsaw. Like, it's pointless to even try. Like, you have to get an M1 hit. It's all you can do, which makes the chase go even longer, and so on and so forth. But if they're as an Instasaw Billy, if they're not within 1 fucking second of something, you know what I mean? Like, that's such a huge. You could insta down them. You could literally insta. It's nuts. It makes it like.
well as
Yeah, it takes.
another factor, you're slower than the survivor while running a chainsaw. So it also makes it so you lose less distance based off of how slow you are for how long you need to move.
Yep, exactly, and it just flat out takes away a lot of the counterplay as Survivor, like a lot of it. It's a bummer. Like, an actual good Billy running Instasaw is just disgusting. There's no way. It's just ridiculous. Like, you're probably gonna not be able to do shit. Like, you're got to like hump pallets, and if you ever get caught in a bad position even slightly, you're just dead. I think it's definitely a huge problem for sure.
So you all are essentially equivalating this to an insta hatchet from Huntress, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I
Huntress just
see it
I
as
think
very,
Huntress
very
is a bit
strong. Yeah, it's a bit different, but like the result is going to be essentially the same, right? The killer has to do some marginal amount of skill in a very short amount of time, and you're instantly down, right?
I would honestly equate it more to insta wine hatchets, but I mean, regardless, I do know what
Oh,
you
is
mean.
that's
that
what
what we're
I
talking
meant.
about? I think that's what we're talking about.
I thought we were talking about like instantly winding up the hatchet.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah, I thought we were talking about insta
didn't
downs.
mean
No,
Insta
not
downs.
insta downs. Yeah, same, because they're the same thing, charge time.
Yeah, no, I agree then. Yeah, I agree. I think it's
But in my opinion, it's like almost a mix, right? It's just a mix of the mechanic versus the versus the add-on, where Billy has, wait, of course you can't do it from like a range, but it's still an insta down. I view this as really powerful, but I don't know if I want to label it as oppressive though.
Really?
You don't think?
You don't think?
I don't know if I'd want to put it as oppressive. I still think there's counterplay, but I do think it bumps up the pressure by at least threefold.
Yeah, I mean, they're okay. I think Insta Slot Billy definitely has more counterplay than Insta Wine Huntress for sure, but it takes away a lot of the base counterplay, especially if they're good with it. Like, I think you also have to keep in mind that I feel like most people that run Insta Slot Billy are usually like the shit Billies that like are just are that
That
they
can't get
This
anything
is-
else.
yeah they don't really know what.
Yeah, this is one.
I mean, I just want to say, I guarantee you, if a really good Billy like ran Instasaw like 10 games in a row and really got used to it and like found out what they can do with it, it would be fucking hell. Like there's so much you can do. Like you probably couldn't even run like T-walls at all on like an Instasaw Billy. If they knew
No,
what they were
because
doing. You
it
would just get
changes the timings. Yeah.
yeah, it changes the timing of everything. Like
And that's
it's
why it's so strong with a good player. Like, I remember Ryan Pez, as an example, has fucked me on T-walls, shack, jungle gyms, etc., pallet loops, because I've overestimated it, and he has the timings down over me, so he gets a chainsaw because it increases his movement speed, It's like, it just adds so many benefits to you, so it makes Billy pretty god tier.
yeah.
I think it's very strong. I wouldn't label it as oppressive though. I would think something like the chains. Chains in my mind are oppressive to a survivor because it's more of a grind rather than I don't know. I don't view it as
A
an
grind.
unfair insta. Got him. More
I
like
mean,
the grind. Okay.
I mean that's fair. I would label it as like semi oppressive. Like,
But yeah, definitely a problem. Definitely a
yeah,
problem.
I agree.
a
I just
problem.
it's
not
just,
not
this
as
is-
bad as others, but
I just really hate it when a game, when there's something that's like allows people who shouldn't be doing that well because they're not good at the game to just do amazingly, just because they stepped on a bunch of add-ons.
So let me ask a question.
Yeah.
Does that mean that carburetor tuning guide is the problem here?
I honestly think it's a mix of Carburetor and Thompson.
Right, but
I think both
that's
of them
my
are
point.
the problem.
That's my point, right? Because if it's the combination, right? That's
Honestly,
my point.
No, it's the
I think
combination. I
Thompson
never said
mix-
it's not the combination.
I think
It's the
Thompson
combination.
mix by itself is the problem because of the cooldown and charge rate and how it works and how they scale. Charge rate in general between the two add-ons are only a 5% difference from 12 to 17%. And that's why I believe that Thompson is the problem, where Carburetor just, increases the problem's strength. Like the instant, it adds more cooldown to it. It's just overall like a clusterfuck of you have so much shit going on.
Right. Okay.
It's like
Well,
when you only run Thompson mix, you don't have to worry about really missing your chainsaws.
Exactly.
You don't have to worry about missing them because you just get to try again. But then if you also slip on Tuner Guide, you also don't have to worry about, predicting survivor movements most of the time because you just get an instant chainsaw off.
I don't know. I want to say that is a problem, yeah, but I think you guys are also just missing the fact that like moderately decreasing the chainsaw charge time on tuning guide and primer bulb is just too much.
Yeah,
Like, I think-
that's what I agree.
I think the numbers on that like need to be
that's charge
tweaked.
rate in general. In my opinion, it comes from Tinker because you take something that's 12 and 17% and you make it 22 and 27%.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
that's
about-
why.
So
What
here,
if-
that's what I was trying to point out is the combination, right? So Billy doesn't have an ultra rare add-on. If the carburetor tuning guide was made his ultra rare add-on, right? I think that by making the rarity that strong, right, then it doesn't really reduce the problem, but it does warrant it as not just like I can run a rare add-on and literally be a god,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that it would be good because I think they are too strong. But I don't know. Still with Tinker, it's just Tinker is a problem because I think Spark Plug and Primer Bulb in general are a problem because
They
Tinker
said
exists.
they're looking into the Tinkerer rework, but
Okay, that's
I don't
really
know,
all I had
okay.
to say.
Yeah.
Besides
Yeah, I
that
agree.
for Billy.
Okay, So, like, I think there's just like two more things that we have to hit. Okay, like there's Turn Billy, which is Thompson Moonshine and Spiked Boots or whatever.
I
Where
love Turn Billy.
Yeah, like I love it. I don't think it's that like oppressive to play against. I think if you
Not
know
at
they
all.
have it,
No.
there's counterplay. I think it's generally fun. I love it. You guys agree?
Agreed.
Okay, and then there's chains, which we need to talk about, like Begrimed Chain, Rusty Chain.
I don't think they're as bad because they got silent nerfed with no fucking warrant or talk about, or like there was warrant, but there was no talk about it. They only last 2 minutes now.
Yeah, I saw
Oh,
that. I
interesting.
did see that.
Because
They don't
when
last
they
the whole
made
match.
Leatherface, they're like, let's change all of the add-ons and not tell anyone.
Yeah, it's really interesting that they did that. But yeah, they
And-
used to last the whole match if you landed one, and now yeah, it's 2 minutes.
And I think that makes them. They're still very strong and oppressive, but I don't think they're near as oppressive. You don't get hit with a chainsaw at the start of the game and lose the game because you repair slower and heal slower.
Yeah, I
Right.
agree. Yeah, I think
Okay.
they're okay now. And yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, I don't think Silent Billy is a big deal either. Like, I think that's totally fine. Like, it's neat. Sometimes you can get fucked by it if you're not paying attention, by like a
That's
silent
pretty neat.
modern abuse Billy or something. But I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Does the heartbeat still overlap the sound of the chainsaw in the chase? Is that still a thing?
I think so. I don't know.
Honestly, can I just say that I really miss the old Ninja Billy? Like, I really don't understand why they took it out, because it's like you need to be looking behind you if you're being chased by a hillbilly. If you're not looking for
Yeah,
a
that's what
chainsaw
I-
revving behind you,
yeah.
that's a huge misplay. Like, I really enjoyed that because it's a fun meme, like silent build that just adds a little spice to the chase. I put it in the same category as like a meme limiter, but I really miss that. Just a little shout out to the Ninja Billies of old.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
I used to run that, yeah.
I kind of miss having insidious hillbillies with silent add-ons revving their chainsaw in the basement near the chest and waiting for me to come down. That was good times, you know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can
God,
you talk about
I
engravings, by the
miss true Ninja Billy so much. You're gonna make me cry.
all right. I think we're done with Billy, right?
Did you talk about engravings?
No, but I
need
think
to?
engravings are fine, right?
Engravings-
No, I just wanted to
there's
say
no
that.
problem
Engravings
with
are
them.
good.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
they're
I just
totally
wanted that
fine.
short thing is
Okay.
just to cover them all. Engravings, good.
Yeah, totally good. You move faster,
Good.
charge time. It's a give and take. They're good. I love them. There's nothing wrong with them. Totally good. All right, we have Nurse now, which is interesting because
I don't wanna talk about nurse.
I think-
Add-ons aren't the best.
I think all we really gotta talk about is like
Plus
extra
blinks.
Yeah, extra blinks. Like I think everything else
Yeah,
is
just
like
remove those.
I think everything else is decently balanced. They all have like things that help and then things that they take away. And sure, you can like combine them, but like I don't think any other combination of add-ons on Nurse is going to be oppressive aside from blinks. You know what I mean? Like
I think
Campbell's.
The
charge
thing that's
time-
oppressive about Nurse is Nurse herself, to be quite honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the issue. But I don't think her add-ons play into it, other than bonus blinks.
Two the things that I just want to mention about Nurse, and I don't really know if we need to go into any more detail besides additional blinks are a problem, is just some like quality of life stuff for Nurse. If you're not running additional blinks, usually, besides like maybe like a stopwatch or something, like people don't run add-ons on Nurse, which I think is like not a problem, but like why have them at that point? And the second thing is like the design rework of these things. Like if you look at the top part of these add-ons, like can you even differentiate what the fuck you're picking?
Yeah, they all look
Like
the same.
what is that? You know, like even if I'm like a full Nurse
Swirls.
player, I wouldn't be able
Oh
to
look, it's the swirly thing with the
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Swirl.
whole
Left.
second row is like a bottle with things coming out that's
Yeah.
just slightly different. Yeah, they all
don't
look
know.
the exact same.
You're supposed
Just,
to tell by the shape of the bottle.
my 2
obviously.
cents. Okay. That's
Yeah,
additional blinks.
but yeah, I mean, just gonna get it out there real quick. The reason additional blinks is a problem is because Nurse is strong enough with 2 blinks that you don't need them. Any good Nurse player is gonna completely wreck your shit with 2 blinks. Adding additional blinks, sure, might be good for someone who's like brand spanking new and has no idea what they're doing. But even then, like you don't want to get reliant on more than one of those blinks. You know what I mean? And plus, it changes like
Right.
Yeah, it's just not good. Like trying to play against any nurse that's even remotely good with more than 2 blinks is fucking ridiculous and pretty
It goes
much
back
impossible.
to the inherent problem of Hillbilly that we were just talking about with charge time and cooldown, where if you rely on those for missing your chainsaws repeatedly, you're just going to live with those add-ons for the rest of your life and not progress further.
Yep. Same thing with nurse. I mean,
Mhm.
two is all you need, and
Yep.
you know that's all most people use anyway. Like it's honestly become a meme at this point, using more than 2 blinks. You know, like people get like shamed for it and shit. So they
Yeah.
just shouldn't even exist, honestly.
Agreed.
All right.
All right,
hop in.
Huntress is the next one. This should be fun.
Ooh,
All right, Huntress has a lot of
you've been ranting about this before, my guy Tofu.
yeah. I mean,
I
think
have
we-
too, because it's
yeah.
fucking bullshit.
I think we all have. Okay, I want to say that there's
Yeah,
two.
I have some people who can give you a testimony about me just
Yeah, okay.
going all out like in games. Just fuck that shit.
Okay, there's 2 different problematic add-on combinations in my opinion with Huntress, but it's just a combination, I think. Okay, like there's iridescent head, which is 1 shot down, but it reduces the number by 4, and then infantry belt, which bumps it back up by 2, so it gives you 3 1-shot down hatchets, which is obviously a problem. And then there's flower babushka mixed with mana grass braid mixed with tinker, the perk, which makes your wind-up time like fucking insane.
Half a second.
It's
Let me actually.
nuts.
I got the numbers here because I have extensively
Oh,
yelled at
give me the
McLean
numbers.
every day. Every day I'll yell at McLean for this bullshit.
Yeah,
They
please
are
give me the
supposed to
numbers. I
work
really
with
want to know.
Tinker. All right, so it's a 1.2 second base hatchet time, right?
Okay.
Pretty long, That's 4.8 meters from the survivor. Using the 2 charge add-ons, green and yellow rarity, without Tinker, is 30% decrease, which is actually only 0.3 seconds, because only 1 second of the Huntress's 1.2 seconds are actually changed, just like animation for Trapper, for setting a trap. There's a 0.2 second unchangeable animation of pulling up the hatchet, and then the remaining 1.0 seconds of charging it and throwing it for the first tier of throw. So by using those those 30% add-ons without Tinker, you take off 0.3 seconds. That's still pretty strong. That's 1.2 less meters that the survivors then have to run away from you, where you're slowed down and they gain distance to try and hide. So it's still an insane big deal. Like 30% is no meme. And then you have Tinkerer. 50% reduction on your hatchet windup time. So you go from 1.2 seconds to 0.7 seconds, which removes 2 meters that the survivors would be able to run, hide, throw down a pallet, turn a corner, and it is insanity. There you go. That's the numbers.
Yeah, it's honestly it's nuts. Like I feel like those numbers don't sound as serious as it really is in game. Like I feel like someone who maybe has never played against an Insta-Line Huntress might look at like, oh, it's only like 0.5 second difference or something, you know what I mean? Or like around that. But it's such a fucking big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is insane. Like basically like the counterplay for Huntress is essentially like pre-throwing pallets, or like like as long as she doesn't predict your pallet for a right and pull out a hatchet in time, you know what I mean? Like it's all about the timing of when she pulls out the hatchet and when you throw the pallet. And it's the one like completely takes that away. It's fucking
It
nuts.
does, and that's the issue.
Ugh.
Sorry, there's speaking of an Insta-Wine Huntress.
Nice.
The issue is that you throw down pallets early, which is how a Huntress can get early pallets on a pallet loop that's short, because you're forced to throw it down. I really like this style of play, because even though she's a slow movement speed killer, she can make up for it in certain chases by forcing early throws, otherwise being able to punish with a hit. I think that's fantastic design, and like that is awesome. It's really cool. It's awesome to play around. The not cool part is when out of the 1.2 seconds you had to react, 40-ish% of that time is now gone. So that's 40% less time you get to react. You also don't get as much distance to get around objects. And overall, it's just you don't have reaction time to it because it's so much quicker. The animation isn't going to be as up for as long. So you can be, you turn around, you see a Huntress, you try to follow her to not get hit, and then you can look back for a second to not bump into an object, and oh shit, there's a hatchet in my asshole. You know, like.
And your instant down.
Yeah. Like there's the issue is those add-ons are just like very oppressing and remove the enjoyable counterplay on a really well designed killer.
Exactly, 100%. Like I actually love playing against Huntress.
That is most fun killers. Like it's so fun to run around, throw down pallets early, have these mind games. It's not fun when she completely reduces the mind games to nothing and oppresses that from you,
Yeah, basically just like once she like essentially what insta wines is once you get close enough to a survivor, there's nothing they can really do. Like it's like once you get like up to like a certain distance, it's like even a pallet throw. And okay, I should say that distance is farther than I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say exactly.
I don't know what
to be
you're
honest.
trying to say either.
Yeah, it just takes away like pretty much everything that you could do as a survivor. You basically have to just be miles away from the Huntress to not get hit. Like if she's even remotely like in the same tile as you, you're pretty much fucked. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's nuts. It's just there's like nothing you can do. It's ridiculous.
Right. One thing I do want to note to the devs is you have had 2 add-ons called the Begrime Chain and the Rested Head that have been bugged for a very long time.
Yeah, I wasn't even
stack.
Yeah, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to mention that to the general public or not, but I'm sure most people probably already know.
I think. Well, another thing I wanted to say is they both do the 2-minute debuff, which I think is much stronger than the Hillbilly because you just have to hit someone.
Exactly.
I think that they should be like halved or something. Or
I agree. 60 seconds.
Right, because I don't understand why one hit putting you into an injured state should allow you to be the same as when you get insta-sawed by a Billy, unless they're using a meme limiter, but we won't go into that.
No, yeah, like getting hit with a hatchet is much like easier to have happen because it's like her auto attack. It's like her hit. Versus a chainsaw with a Hillbilly where you have to actually know distances, prepare, and then fully go through with hitting a chainsaw, which you can still be.
So I think if we're talking about add-ons as a meta problem, I think that insta-wind and insta-down Huntress is a problem. If we're talking about it from a technical game perspective, devs, you need to fix that bug so that the add-ons are actually usable by people without it being a atrocious bug and super oppressive.
Yeah, I totally agree. But yeah, I mean, we didn't really talk too much about Iridescent Head. We were talking about Insta-Wine. Iridescent Head is pretty obvious, though, to be honest. Like, it's a one-shot down. Like, the reason why this is such a problem on Huntress, where, like, it isn't on Trapper, is kind of like you said, like, getting someone to step in a trap is completely different from hitting someone with your throwable weapon. You know what I mean? Like, that's... You have so much more opportunity to do this. You know what I mean? Like it's not that difficult to like force this. It's more of like an aggressive ability, like rather than like a passive that's like the Trappers, where you need them to step in it. Whereas this one, you could just go to them and then just fucking chuck them at them until you hit them. You know what I mean? And yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna say this: that no survivor has fun against this add-on. Not a single time has any survivor played against this add-on and been like, "Oh yeah, this is fine. This is totally fine." Everybody I know that plays against Iridescent Heads is always just like, "Fucking why? Why?" Every time that's what it is because no one likes it. It's awful.
Agreed.
All right, I think everything else on her is fine though, right? Like, okay,
I
like
think
her
exhaustion is a little strong.
Really?
But yeah, the green one, 90 seconds. It's kind of really strong.
Good.
Yeah?
Fuck them. Fuck. You run exhaustion perks. Fuck them, dude. Fuck them. I don't care. I think it should be strong. I like it. I don't think people should be relying on exhaustion perks, to be honest. I think if you play in a game in a way where you rely on exhaustion perks, like if you're like if I don't have my dead heart, I'm fucked, and then you get hit by Venomous.
I don't think that's fine to say rely on exhaustion perks. I think it's to say that you use one of the basically default things in the game, and I do like that it does counter exhaustion. I love exhaustion counters. It's great. I think exhaustion instead of an add-on, exhaustion perks in general should be lowered in power tier, not to let's make an add-on that solves a problem like everything else we do in behavior.
Well, I mean,
like we make perks.
Hey boys, we gotta reel it back. Gotta stay on track.
Yeah.
We're gonna start talking about
I
this.
just wanted to talk that I think exhaustion perks or the add-on is strong, and I think it's fine as is. I just think it'll be silly or if exhaustion perks are ever nerfed.
Well,
You know what I mean?
the last thing I want to say is that if exhaustion perks get nerfed, they'll probably be less common, which will make this add-on not as good. So it won't
Yeah,
matter
true.
anyway.
Good point.
So yeah, I think it's totally. I think the rest of our add-ons are all totally fine. I mean, maybe like some of them, like maybe like seeing the auras of lockers are kind of silly. Like that add-on is fucking weird. But I mean, whatever, it's fine. Some people want to see lockers, whatever. You know what I mean? I think the rest of our add-ons are pretty okay. I don't think there's any that are like too weak or too strong. Like the rest are just kind of okay. Okay, Myers is next. This guy's got some interesting add-ons too.
I think Myers has the most well-designed add-ons overall, probably.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, I think.
Well, I mean, okay. I'm just gonna straight up ask this and see what you guys think. What do you guys think about someone who runs Fragrant Tuft of Hair, which is Infinite Tier 3, and then like J. Myers Memorial, which just helps you get there faster, and maybe even like Tinker to get there even faster? Like,
I think that you're committing very strongly to the time that it's going to take to get to your tier 3, and I think that it's a good balance between the time that it would take to get there and like it's strong, right? It's very, very strong, but at the same time he's a melee killer. He's not top tier, and I think that that's literally one of his strongest, besides an instant kill, one of his strongest builds he could ever use. So I think it's strong. I don't think it's oppressive because he can still get looped. He can still run through the chases. He'll be able to vault windows faster, which actually adds a little spice to chases. But I might have to agree with Atro that I think that Myers has very, very good add-ons to fit his mechanic.
yeah,
I like Myers' add-ons too. I honestly don't mind that combo either. It's strong, but I don't feel like
I couldn't think of a single add-on that I have a problem with.
I kind of agree. Like, it is strong as shit, and I know a lot of people are like, Infinite Tier 3. Because it does, I mean, it does suck to play against Infinite Tier 3, but at the same time, it doesn't take away counterplay. I think that's the important thing. I think those are the problematic ones, the ones that flat out take away counterplay. Like,
because you can still loop him, you can still prevent stalking. That's the counterplay. It's still there. He doesn't, like, fucking, while stalking, move at sonic speeds, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I do think this is a good place to drop in a little bit of bloodlust talk, because this is where, you know, when it comes down to the melee killers, this is where it's going to start playing in, especially if you have a tier 3 Myers who has achieved an infinite tier 3. Now they can instantly rely on, it's just a matter of time before I catch you.
Yeah, because every hit's a one-shot down, so they can just
Correct.
bloodlust everything all the time. Yeah, but I do think the bloodlust. You know what? Wait, I'm just gonna wait to get into that later. I think I want to get into bloodlust later. I think I'm gonna.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you wanted to talk about it, so I was just dropping it in.
We can do the
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. But we'll come back to this whenever we talk about bloodlust, though.
Okay.
Okay, so like that's super strong, but it's not like oppressive. It doesn't take away counterplay, but it's just super strong, which is fine. I mean, it's an ultra rare. Okay, there's Tombstone, which is, you know, there's Judas Tombstone, and then there's the Tombstone Piece, which are fucking awesome, by the way. These add-ons are sick. Like, I remember when these came out, it was so awesome. It's still awesome, to be honest. To be able to, like, basically instant-kill a survivor standing up when you're in Tier 3. Tombstone itself is fucking garbage, in my opinion, because it moderately decreases your movement speed. I think any add-on that lowers your movement speed is just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, movement speed is literally the most important fucking stat for, like, anybody, whether you're a killer or a survivor. It's such a huge deal. And having that is just weird, honestly. I mean, on top of the fact that, like, Judas Tombstone by itself doesn't even, like, last longer. Your Tier 3 doesn't even last longer or anything. So you basically have to combine it with, like, a tuft of hair or a haribo or something, you know what I mean?
So if I can speak to... I think Tombstone Piece is Myers' strongest add-on, personally.
Really?
Yes. Because... how I play Myers is achieving a 99% on my Evil Within 2, and then completely switching targets and surprising another person. And then if I pop tier 3 on them, I can kill instantly a survivor from the game, right? Because you can go from tier 1 to tier 2 99 very, very easily with a tombstone piece, in my opinion. And I just think that if I want to go to the survivor side, I think that it's a very slippery slope to be able to have an easily achievable insta kill as an add-on. I think that maybe the tombstone or the tombstone itself is pretty cool because it's very hard to achieve, in my opinion. But the tombstone piece is not that hard, and you can usually kill 2 people and make them depip if you really wanted to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think the strength of just completely taking out a player is a lot too. You know,
it's always crazy.
Right.
Yeah,
yeah, like
they nerfed Morris.
Right.
Yeah,
yeah. It's old Morris basically.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. It's strong, but I also think it's not. It's one of those things where I also don't think it's insanely imbalanced either, though. Like it takes a lot of stalking.
It does.
Yeah, like as far as the actual tombstone, you move at like ridiculously slow speed, so that already gives that like counterplay. And tombstone piece you can only use on one person, so that's kind of like the downsides of both of them, which make them both dealable with. Like it's not like tombstone piece you're just gonna go around murdering everybody. It takes a long time of stalking, and then you kill one person, and that's even if you put yourself in a bad position. If you stay near pallets and shit, you can even avoid it. You know what I mean? As if the Myers plays it badly anyway.
Well, so if you manage your evil within, you can kill 2 people, right, with the tombstone piece?
You can kill up to 3 people.
3 people? Okay. Yeah, so I still stand by the fact that I think the tombstone piece is actually one of Myers' strongest add-ons because it's not an ultra rare, and it can be easily complemented, like you were saying, with a J. Myers Memorial, just to soak as quickly as possible and instantly take someone out of the game is huge.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's very strong. But again, is this a problem? Is this oppressive at all?
I don't think so. I think
that if I was going into a game,
I would play against more Myers players, nobody really plays Myers anymore, I feel.
Yeah, I would say that I could make it oppressive if I wanted to. Like if I wanted to target one of you in a game and catch you and insta kill you, it wouldn't be that hard with a tombstone piece.
But I mean, I feel like if you wanted to do that, you can do that as any killer and then just camp like a motherfucker because that's the thing in this game. So.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking of a problem as it relates to the add-on. That's all.
I feel you. Yeah, no, I don't think it's a problem though. Like myself, I think every time I've ever gotten tombstone, I've always just been caught off guard and been like, "Hey, it's awesome! I'm getting tombstone shit."
Okay.
It's always awesome.
I think that play with your food tombstone is oppressive though, just like Tinkerer with wind-up time.
I think
no.
You don't lose play with your food stacks when you tombstone someone.
But that's entirely different because you literally have to farm. Okay, that's assuming this is assuming you're running tombstone and fragrant tuft, right? Not just tombstone because that would be ridiculous. So you have to farm up so much stock from all 3 survivors, which takes a long ass time, and you have to farm up 3 tokens from the obsession, which also takes a long time. So like,
can't you farm up tokens from anyone though?
Nope.
No, it has to be your obsession with playing the
initiated a chase with an obsession gets it.
Yeah, so like I think that's a lot different than like insta wine tinker where like you have it right off the bat. Yeah, no. I think that's where like it doesn't take away counterplay because the counterplay is to not let him stalk him.
Yep, it's the same counterplay. That's a very good point to make. I just want to say I really do like how play with your food is a perk that exists in the game with tombstone because you go zoom fast and as an obsession don't get seen.
Yeah, cool. Well, I don't really see any huge inherent problems with Myers.
No, I think his add-ons are very fun, cool.
Yeah, okay,
there's a lot of uniqueness.
I do want to touch base on I do want to touch base on one other set of add-ons of his. Okay, sure. Scratch Mirror and Vanity Mirror. Okay, so these are interesting add-ons. A lot of people like them. A lot of people hate them. Basically, they just make it so you can't leave. Like Scratch Mirrors, you can't leave tier 1. Vanity Mirrors, you can't leave tier 2. But then when stalking, you can see people within a certain distance. Like Scratch Mirror, you can see people within 32 meters. Vanity Mirror is 16 meters. like this is interesting, okay? Because Scratch Mirror, in my opinion, fucking sucks against good survivors. Like against bad survivors, you'll shit all over them because they don't really know what they're doing. But any good survivor who like knows what they're doing, if you try to chase them with Scratch Mirror Myers, you'll probably get like one surprise hit on them because they don't know where you are because you have no heartbeat or whatever, and then you'll probably never catch them because you just run so fucking slow, like insanely slow, and you have no lunge because you're in tier 1. You know. Like,
Right.
tier 1 Myers is not good against good survivors. It's just not.
And you can't get Bloodlust in tier 1.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, you also can't Bloodlust. And Vanity Mirror is sort of the same way because it slightly reduces your movement speed. It's not as bad. Even with a slightly reduced movement speed, you can still catch people, but it makes it way harder, you know? Okay, now, we can sit here and say that, okay, these add-ons, when played most of the time, are usually just fun add-ons. You know, like, I like them. Like, they're fun. They're not oppressive to play against, usually, because it's really easy to counterplay them as a survivor. But I've been running into a lot of people lately that have been using Scratch Mirror to basically just face camp hooks, like, with perfection. Like, it is insane how efficient your face camping is whenever you have Scratch Mirror. Because you also have no heartbeat, so, like, you can, if you literally just hold M2 and never leave your stock, you never start a chase. So if you have Monitor and Abuse, you'll never start a chase, and you'll just stay, you know, seeing auras, and then as soon as they unhook, you just hit the guy off the hook, and there's nothing you can do.
And you know them where they're coming from within the 32-meter radius.
Exactly. I think that is a problem. I think that is the only thing I could really think of that's like, most of the time Scratch Mirror is a ton of fun, but it is a god tier face camping perk. I feel bad even saying this to the public because I feel like I'm just giving people.
I didn't even think about that.
I didn't either, but now I fucking
no. I've been seeing a lot of it lately, and it is fucking toxic, dude.
I see how Mario's doing this to me, and like the next 2 days, Tofu, I know who to blame.
Blame Tofu.
That's fine, dude. It's happened to me like 5 times in the past like couple weeks, man. I haven't seen it at all. I'm telling you, I think the face campers are all getting together in like a private chat and discussing tactics or something because this shit's like next level, dude. It fucking sucks, man. So like, I think aside from the ability to like camp like crazy with this add-on, I love it, but I think something should be done about. I don't even know what needs to be changed for that whole thing, but that is definitely a problem, and I think this add-on is very oppressive when it comes to that. You know what I mean? And I think it's going to be super easy for people to do that.
Yeah. Yep.
Aside from that, is there anything else? Can we move on?
Nope.
Yeah, we can move.
Okay, we got old Hagatha. Old Hagatha's next. She's oh man, her add-ons are fucking. I have so much to say. Oh my god. Okay, Minrag is actually now pretty legit. All right, they changed the buttons so that Minrag used to be a meme because spacebar did everything. So like you would go to like a Volta window, yeah, and you would teleport or you'd break a pallet.
Teleport.
Yeah, you'd accidentally teleport all the time. Because the thing is that the chat doesn't have to go off. If anybody doesn't really understand what's going on here, the chat doesn't have to go off for you to teleport to it. Just any place trap, whether it goes off or whether it's just sitting there, you know, armed, you can teleport to it. Okay, and it also has a cooldown of 15 seconds. This is actually now really strong because they added the new button. I mean, I like it. I don't think it's like overpowered, right? Do you guys think? I don't really think it's a huge problem.
I think it's fun.
Yeah, I love it. I think
it could be a great add-on if it also prevented traps from going off.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the only issue I could think of this would be, I don't even know if this is another one of those things where I don't even know if I want to say it to give people ideas. But
God.
I'm just gonna do it anyway because fuck it.
No.
Is like if you run like territorial imperative and then trap like the basement stairs or something.
God fucking damn it!
Because
I was gonna say the basement corner so they don't set it off.
Or that, yeah. So that way, just no matter what, like you just leave and then you basically just fucking camp someone from the basement from anywhere on the map. You know what I mean?
Now.
Yeah, like I think, but again, I think these are all camping issues and not really add-on issues. Like I think if something gets done about camping at some point in the future, maybe some global fix could happen to all of this. I don't know, but regardless, that's really the only thing. Aside from some crazy scummy shit like that, I think it's a pretty balanced add-on. It just gives her global map pressure, which I think is good, you know. And I think we're gonna move on.
Also cool.
Yeah. She does a lot of stupid shit, so let's go ahead and move on. Okay, waterlogged shoe. The traps, you can't teleport to traps anymore, but when they step in them, their movement speed goes down by like fucking 2% or something. This is like the most garbage add-on.
No way.
Dude, they and their shoe gets wet, their socks get all soaked,
That sucks.
and they're like uncomfortable for a minute while they're running.
Dude,
It's
they
awful.
can't run as fast because they're so uncomfortable.
Oh my god, it's the
nuts.
worst. But no, seriously,
And their
like,
shoes make like weird splashy noises when they walk. Oh,
oh,
God.
it's like
so the
sling
problem-
smash.
The problem with this is if it actually applied a debuff rather than within the triggered trap range, right? Because you could literally put a pinky toe into the waterlogged shoe trap range and then just leave it and you're fine, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I think that if you trigger the trap, right, if you want to make this actually strong, it needs to apply a debuff of waterlogged onto the survivor to actually hinder them.
Isn't that? Oh.
No, it's only when you're in
Yeah,
the
it's not-
trap
yeah.
range.
Yeah.
So it
Oh.
forces you to increase your
Even
trap.
says so.
What is it? I don't. What is that thing called?
Trap radius or whatever.
range
The
or
effective
radius,
trap
yeah,
radius.
Trap
Yeah.
range.
Yeah, that's what it is. Radius.
So yeah, I totally agree. I think it's okay. First off, I think hindered is very underwhelming in general. Like every time I've ever been, like I remember whenever hindered first came out for like Huntress's add-on, I was like, "What the hell is this?" And I got hit by it, and I was like, "I still don't know what this is. I don't even know what this did to me because the slowdown is like nothing. Like I still feel like I run plenty
Does
fast."
anyone have the numbers?
No, I don't.
I'm really curious, to be honest. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm glad because I think if they made it strong, it would be like oppressive.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
it's one
I was
like
gonna say, however, comma space. It would be fucking awful when it was good. If
yeah. I think it's one of those super touchy things. Like movement speed is always touchy. You have to be very
I think-
careful with movement speed.
I think hindered should work like this, where if you just get hit by something that applies hindered, you slow down a lot for like a second, and then it slowly decays to normal movement speed.
That would be cool. I'd be like with either the hatchet or with this add-on. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you like
It
you
gives
said,
you
like,
like
You get slowed by 30%, and then over the course of 1.5 seconds, you increase your speed to normal again.
sounds like that does sound cool, and that would make this actually not a shit add-on because then you pop a trap. Let's say if you used it for around loops, and it slows them down, so your slow ass can fucking make the distance.
yeah, exactly. I think that would be really cool. By the way, my chat is telling me it's 9%. It takes you from 4 meters a second to 3.85 meters a second, which is actually, you know,
That's actually a big deal. if you
yeah, that
think
actually
about it.
sounds pretty
It could
decent.
be a big
0.15 meters a second is a big deal. if
It
that's
doesn't.
what
It doesn't
is.
feel that like it doesn't
No,
feel
but
that
that's because
strong,
it's
though.
such a minimal change that you don't notice the difference. But if it's like that, then think about it like that, though. If you have a hindered as a Huntress, you almost walk at normal killer speed in relative comparison to how much, a normal killer gains.
See, that
over
that might
non-star.
also be why it doesn't seem like a big deal, is because the only people that hinder you are the people that have slower
The
movement
slow,
speed. Yeah,
yes,
so it might not
yes.
seem like a big of a deal. But anyway, sorry, we need to get back on topic. Waterlogged shoe is garbage because, hindered is sort of underwhelming and could maybe use like a buff, like you guys said, where like it slows you down a lot right off the bat and then ramps up. And like what Apple said, it shouldn't just be in the trap range. That's ridiculous. Like it should be.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I thought it was a debuff.
Yeah, especially considering that this is an ultra rare, dude. Like, come on, this is supposed to be like one of her strongest add-ons. Like, no, this is a joke right now. This is an absolute joke, and it removes your ability to teleport. So, like,
Yeah, it hurts the hag more than
yeah,
it hurts survivors.
because that removing her ability to teleport to the trap is a
It's like
huge.
a common theme, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a huge debuff to her. Like, she's already slow, and that's like her only like form of mobility. So if you're gonna have something that does that, it better be fucking damn strong, you know? So yeah, I think that add-on is garbage and needs some work for sure. Like, I don't know. I'm just gonna move on because that's just disgusting me, to be honest. Anyway,
That's fine.
Disfigured Ear is the next one. This one's fucking goofy, dude. I don't even know. They set off the trap and they're deafened for 6 seconds.
Oh my
Does it
God.
still do that like white noise shit?
No.
I remember when it did like an actual white noise that hurt.
Yeah,
people's
that was-
ears.
It was
People
a
were pissed.
flashbang, dude. It was literal flashbang went off beside you.
It just mutes your game. Like that's what it does now.
Yeah, people were pissed, but yeah, I mean, yeah, right now it just kind of like mutes everything, which is actually, I played against this the other day, and it was actually pretty cool. Okay, it decreases the trap duration time by a lot too, though, so you have to teleport to it like right away if you're going to. But regardless, like it's 6 seconds, which is actually a decent amount of time that you're deafened, and it really like lowers the heartbeat a lot. So it's actually not as bad as it seems. I don't think this is a great add-on, but it's not as bad as it seems. Like when you're in a chase with a hag and one of these goes off, you can't really hear the heartbeat too well. You know, you got to be like you're like looking all around you to see if you can see like her fucking stain and trying to find out where the hell she is because you can't really hear much. It's actually not as bad as it seems.
No, because you
also
can't hear
really-
footsteps either.
It's also really off-putting to just suddenly have your game muted.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this add-on's actually okay. I think it's interesting, and I think it's okay. It's not like incredibly powerful. It's not weak. It's just okay. I like it.
Can I put in 2 cents for? Can we do the rest of the purple add-ons and then like skip the rest of the other shit add-ons?
Yeah, because
add-ons
I think the purple ones are the problems.
Okay,
Yeah, like the
cool.
rest are
Anything
shit.
significant.
Yeah, we only have 3 more. Okay, Grandma's Heart's next, which is this one is really interesting. But okay,
Grandma's Heart.
this one's basically reduces the hag's heartbeat to 0 whenever a trap gets triggered, but increases the heartbeat of the actual trap phantasm by 16. So when a trap goes off, your heartbeat goes to nothing, but your trap has like a huge heartbeat. And like, this one's weird. I remember when I first saw this, I was like, dude, this is so sick. Imagine all the plays you could make. And then I tried to use it, and I couldn't make any plays using it at all. I don't really know like what you're supposed to use this for. Like, it's interesting. I like it. But have you guys ever like used it in a good way? Because
I see what you're saying. You'd have to use it in a very, very particular circumstance. Like if we were trying to sneak up on a survivor across the map, right? And then you'd have to wait for a trap to be triggered somewhere. And then you can like bum rush at them without them knowing your heartbeat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you can't really control when a trap goes off.
Yeah,
so like, it just seems weird to me, you know? Like it seems like an interesting add-on. I just don't really know when you're supposed to use this. Like, I don't know.
I think it'd be really cool if it made traps or your clones last a lot longer as well, like have an increased clone duration. So then when your clone gets triggered, it puts the heartbeat on, and you actually have time when it goes off to, if you're around the area of the thing going off, to sneak up from behind and potentially get a hit that way.
Well, see, that's what they're trying to do with these add-ons, Graham, is they're trying to have you pair them so that these, when triggered, right? So triggered means that it's not just the instantaneous, like it's been triggered. It's as long as it's persisting as triggered, right? At least that's how I'm understanding it. So you would use one of these greens that I think the cracked turtle shell, right? Is that the duration time? Yeah.
Yeah.
So something like
Cracked
that,
turtle
so that
egg,
you would have a moving insidious hag, basically. Pretty interesting, but
I think that'd be cool.
You'd have to rely on survivors popping your traps at an ideal time.
But I still think as an add-on, it's really Nito, you know? And
Yeah.
Nito's cool. I like Nito. Not too strong. Probably weak, but that's fine because it's cool.
The next one is my favorite hag add-on, by the way.
Yeah,
I think it's everyone's favorite hag.
Yeah. Let's just move on to Rusty Shackles, which is probably like the strongest, the best. I mean, I don't know, man. This seems to be everyone's go-to. Rusty Shackles makes it so that the traps that go off, they don't give you an indication. You don't know that they went off. You have no idea. There's no like blah hag that pops out whenever you step over it. It's just you stepped on a trap and you don't even find out until the hag teleports and then bam. Like
with a generator.
Yeah, you can pull people off gens like crazy with this add-on. It's nuts. And I mean, I don't know. It's just good all around. Like, it's super good because it takes away the survivor's ability to react to the react to the knowledge that it just stepped in. You know, like they're like, oh shit, I just stepped in a trap. This is how you counterplay it. It takes that away. You know what I mean? Like they don't even have time to like react to the trap and counterplay it because they don't even know they did it until you're in their face hitting them. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
I mean, this add-on's insanely strong. I don't even know what to say about it. This one is almost like borderline too strong, in my opinion. I don't know if it's too strong, but it's close. Like, I honestly do feel like it takes away counterplay. Honestly, like
if the hag herself actually was a good killer, it'd probably be way too strong.
Yeah, I agree.
Because then you wouldn't have a reason to not run this add-on and just play normally.
Yep, I agree with that.
Rusty Shackles is basically the equivalent of what I was thinking for the
Windstorm for the Wraith.
Invisible trap
Pretty much.
traps is what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty similar apples for sure. Yeah, I think it's a good add-on. It's fun and it's interesting as the hag, but honestly, as the survivor playing against Rusty Shackles, like I don't know, man. I don't like
I think it needs a downside.
Yeah, I agree. I think it needs a downside too. It doesn't have a downside at all. There's no doubt. This add-on's just nuts.
It's like the only high rarity add-on that doesn't have a downside too.
Yeah.
I feel like.
It's very weird that most of her add-ons are shit, and then this one is just like very. I think if anything needs to be nerfed from Hag, it would be this. But keep in mind that Hag is also shit right now, so like I wouldn't want this nerfed until she gets buffed. You know what I mean? Like, I think with her in her current state of being garbage, then Rusty Shackles is fine because she's garbage. You know. But if she ever got buffed and like was made a viable killer, this would have to get nerfed pretty quickly. I think because it's fucking strong. It's very strong. All right. Scarred Hand is the last one. This one is just, oh my god, this one.
It's the nuts.
This fucking add-on, dude.
It could be great, but
This fucking add-on. Okay, here we go. All right, let's just get into it. Mud phantasms have collisions. So basically, your things that pop up out of the trap are like a wall now. Like if you put them in like a doorway or like a pallet, they can't go through. You know what I mean? It's like a wall. But moderately reduces the Hag's movement speed, which by the way, the Hag already has reduced movement speed. So like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? All right. Also removes her ability to teleport to those traps. So not only is she less mobile, now she can't even teleport to make herself more mobile. But don't worry, because it grants 300% blood points from deviousness. So don't worry, it's okay. You get a bunch of points whenever someone steps on a trap, and it trumps all other add-ons. So there you go. Basically, you're giving up a fuck ton of movement speed and your ability to teleport, so that your traps make little walls, essentially.
Right.
This add-on is fucking garbage, dude.
It's the best.
I've never played against I've never played against a Scarred Hand Hag that actually like. Well, actually, I played against one who used it like decently, but they still didn't do anything. Like
here's the thing with this add-on. Okay, here's the thing: if you have a hook inside of a jungle gym, or if you have a person in the basement, I think that this add-on combination, like a Scarred Hand with something else, like a longevity add-on to add duration, is very, very good for you to be able to go back and dissuade the survivor from saving, right? But the problem is there's a stigma for hags to even set their traps, same with Trapper, around a person who's been hooked, right? But that's how this Scarred Hand really shows. Like you could set it up in other doorways and stuff, but like if you wanted to set 3 traps really quick in all the different doorways and windows so that the survivors can't get in, right? Like I know that sounds scummy and shit, which I suppose it is, but like I guess just the concept of blocking a survivor is scummy in general.
I mean, I just feel like the reason why that's scummy is because you're basically trying to prevent the save, you know? Like anybody that goes for the save gets stopped. You get made aware of them and then you go back. So it's basically, I feel like that is what the general stigma of scumminess is anything that where you're just trying to like not allow someone to save another person, you know? Like you just want the person on the hook to die at all costs. But that, I mean, I don't want to get too into like that topic because that's a fucking whole nother topic. But I would love to see this add-on actually usable mid-chase is what I would like to see. Like I would like to see mid-chase having a survivor try to go through a doorway or something and then bam, they get blocked by the phantasm and then you catch them, you know? Like
if you can catch up with your moderately reduced hag speed.
Exactly. And like that's what I'm saying. Like this add-on might be okay if they got rid of that. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking when they put that on, dude. Like that shouldn't be on any fucking add-on, I think, in my opinion, reducing a killer's movement speed. But
also keep in mind that this Scarred Hand, right, applies to every trap. So if you have someone on the other side of the map popping hag traps and slowing your move speed while you're in a chase, that's so cancer. You know what I mean? Like can you imagine that? You're in a chase, you're about to get someone, you're creeping up on them, and somebody pops your hag trap for Scarred Hand, and now you're moving super slow.
No, that's not how it works, slower. Apples. Yeah, it's not how it works. You always move
slower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not only when your trap goes off. You just have lower move speed at all times. You're just slow as shit. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's even worse.
Garbage. This add-on's garbage.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like literally, it can do anything It could do anything in the world, but having moderately reduced movement speed at all time is just the worst.
It. My bad.
Yeah, it's
Well, you think we were just like just shitting on this add-on?
I think it'd be great if they just took that off.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think if they took that off, it would be very interesting. You know what I mean? I think even then it might not be amazing because I still think like you have to go set up these traps around doorways and shit before a chase. And this is pretty much Hag in a nutshell, though. Is you have to go like set up traps in advance of like where you think people are gonna go mid chase. But then like if you happen to be across the map and then someone happens to run through all your traps while you're not chasing them, then you just wasted all your time, you know. But that's kind of like Hag gameplay in a nutshell, you know. So like that's really the only thing I can see bad about Scarred Hand. You know what I mean? But like regardless, I think that's just how Hag plays out. So I think it would be totally fine. Yeah, I think if they removed the movement speed, it would be pretty okay. And then,
also, can I just say I don't think that there's also two logical problems with a Scarred Hand, right? So you need to make sure that the entrance in which the survivor is entering a pallet and or door, I guess not door, but a pallet at least. Like when I've tried to use this on a pallet, like so that they get body blocked and they can't like essentially run through the pallet or something, they can kind of just like go around, but that might just be a misplay, or they can like throw it through. You know what I mean? Like you're getting enduring stunned on your fucking phantasm trap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying. So
yeah, they need to. I think they could also work on the way they interact with those.
Yeah.
Scarred Hand, just it decreases your speed to 101%.
So you move 1% faster than the survivor?
Yes.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Yeah, I actually played against a Hag the other day. I think it was Malevolent Shadow, actually. And he was using this. He was the only person I've ever seen this use in a way where he actually, like, blocked a pallet loop with two of them and, like, got a hit on me. It was actually, I was impressed. But when he chased me to anywhere that wasn't trapped, you could literally pallet loop him forever. Like, I actually ran around the pallet loop faster than he did because of the angles of the pallet loop. Like, his 101% speed, I literally was running the pallet loop faster than him. He was totally helpless. It was fucking ridiculous.
Right.
But anyway, we should be moving on. Leatherface has the exact same add-ons as Billy. So...
Except a bunch of new ones, but they're not really problems.
I mean, not really. Like, what's new? Chili? Basically just chili. Which does, like, nothing. Well, I mean, I guess that's the thing. I guess if he doesn't have any ones that are overpowered, but, like, chili is underpowered. Like, what?
It's because his chainsaw sucks because he has less base movement speed. His revving is a lot different. Or his base movement speed while revving, sorry. So while you chainsaw rev, the Hillbilly will move faster than a Leatherface.
He will also slow down.
That's one problem. Yeah. Another problem is once you reach maximum charges of Leatherface, you actually have to let go. So that's a big frustrating thing because as Billy, when you hit 100, you go. With Leatherface, when you hit 100, you're fucking 3.45 meters a second and needing to be as efficient as possible and letting go of your chainsaw as soon as you can. And that just leads to, like, infuriating gameplay. So it's just like Leatherface's add-ons just suck because it's like if you had Hillbilly and then you made Hillbilly worse in literally every aspect except multi-hits.
So the biggest problem for me with Leatherface is his acceleration pairing. Like, I think that his acceleration, the distance that he's able to go, and basically, like, we're talking about, like, re-maneuvering a hit on a chainsaw, right? So, like, that would come into the charge time. Charge time still plays a big deal here, right? Same thing with Billy. But I think acceleration can also add to that where it exacerbates the problem because you can actually go for these hits from very far away. Whereas with a Hillbilly, it's also a little bit different. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's my only 2 cents on Leatherface. I think he gets wrapped up with the Hillbilly add-ons because they're essentially the same.
Yeah,
it's just Leatherface as a killer is just worse. So it's like none of his are a problem because he's worse, you know. So anything that's a problem for Hillbilly isn't really a problem for Leatherface because the killer isn't good.
I agree.
Right.
I agree. I'm just gonna move on to the next killer. I think that sums it up pretty well, to be honest. Doctor, he's got.
Who's next?
We gotta be quick with these last 3 killers.
Oh my god.
Okay.
All of Tech's the killer.
Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna be fast on Doctor, but all right.
I feel like Doctor's add-ons to be quite honest, I think the only problematic ones are probably the Green Range one and the Iridescent King. Those are the ones that are just ugh. The Range one, because it's like usually the doctors who run like the range add-ons are the ones who are just gonna zap you like 10 times before they actually go for a hit. And then that just allows him to do that from like I don't know how far that range is.
See,
But
but
it's
that's
pretty far.
but that's fine. Like if you want to
It's
zap
not-
me 10 times before you go for a hit, then you're
I
just
mean, I'm
wasting
not
time.
saying it's okay. I guess I did say it's problematic. It's just yeah.
So we've
Doesn't
talked
really
about
do a
Doctor,
lot.
right? We've talked about Doctor and how his mechanic baseline is annoyingly oppressive. So any add-ons just kind of exacerbates already
Yeah.
what he does. So I don't know if we can really, I don't really know if there's like actually, if these add-ons are super oppressive outside of his base mechanics, right?
Yeah, I had to agree. I think
that's where Iridescent King comes in.
I really okay. You know what? Let's just go ahead and hit up Iridescent King because it has pretty much every affliction that all of his other add-ons have. And let's just talk about the afflictions, okay? So like the whole like fake palettes. I don't think that's that big of a deal, you know. The doctor illusions, as if anybody gives a fuck. How many people fall for doctor illusions? You know, if anything, that just tells the doctor where you are. If anything, you know. Survivors hear a constant heartbeat, which is kind of not good. The whole like when a chase begins and then you have a red stain and constant high tear radius, that is the strongest one for sure. Like that one is fucking insanely strong. Where what we're like when you're in a chase, you just have a constant like survivor or the killer sounds like he's right on your ass and the red light's on you. So it's basically hiding his red light, and you also have a constant heartbeat. So he might as well have Insidious. You know what I mean? It's that one is the only one I can see that is actually like really fucking strong. Like the rest are kind of meh, you know. Like sure, there's like in Madness 3, you're constantly exhausted, which is it sucks or whatever. But whatever, you know. Like you can get by it.
I mean, you can say whatever, but gaining 40 plus meters of distance is a bit better than whatever, in my opinion. It's really strong. But then it'll only be as strong as whatever the exhaustion perk they're running is, if they're running it. So.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Though I don't think it oppresses you. You know what I mean? Like,
No. I'm just saying it's good. Like we're talking power levels. It's good.
Yeah. It's good for sure. That's what I'm saying. Though
Yeah,
I'm saying all of these things are good, but I'm saying the only one that I think might be slightly oppressive is the one that gives you.
Oh, that's what you meant.
Yeah, is the one that gives you the constant like in your face tear radius as well as taking away his red light. Because like that pretty much. I don't even think doctors realize how strong that is whenever they have it. Because, like, I feel so vulnerable whenever that's... Like, when I'm a survivor and I have that affliction on me, and especially when I don't know where the doctor is, I'm just like... I'm, like, panicking, dude.
It's like what the fuck? We had that tear radius bug, and every killer had that. It's a big deal, because it lowers your ability to also hear things around you, you know? Like, it destroys your sound, so if you try to pay attention to footsteps, it hurts.
So Krill says something pretty straightforward that I agree with. The combination of all of them is pretty oppressive. I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about Iridescent King here.
Right, I think
you get to have all of them.
Yeah, you get to have all of them, which I think is kind of insane. I think like the Iridescent King, huh? Oh yeah, kind of good one. I think that the Iridescent King could be something like a randomized. Like as long as maybe the killer could have an indication as to what madness affliction is currently on the survivor and rotate through all of them. Because basically I think the Iridescent King should be your wild card, right? Not your I'm gonna zap you 4 or 5 times to make sure you have every affliction. I want you to have this specific one. And since I'm running this wild card ultra rare, I can cycle through what affliction I want you to have at what time.
Yeah. That's really cool. And then make every affliction like a bit stronger than the purple ones, so it actually.
Now, don't get me wrong, right? If you're a killer and you're looking at it like, why would I want them to only have one when I can have them have all 4, right? But that's exactly what we're saying. It can be oppressive to have all 4. So I'm saying like, if you wanted to add more skill to it, you wouldn't want someone who's on the hook in tier 3 that you've just caught to still have broken pallets as their iridescent order affliction, right? You would want something like restraint or
discipline, something like that. So the doctors need to actually think about what form of madness do I want them to be in what state, right? I want them to have broken pallets if they're in a chase or something, but not when they're out of it. Something like that. Maybe that's too difficult, but Doctor is marked as hard, guys. So
that's right. That's right.
He's hard. Anyways,
it's difficult to play, all right.
Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, aside from Medicine King, I think everything else just does like one of the things, as well as like a passive ability too. You know what I mean? And I do think I do think that like the only other combination that I think could be called problematic is if you combine. Let me find out which one it is. Order with what's the one that makes your heartbeat bigger? Calm. If you combine purple calm with purple order, I played against this one time on someone who was doing 3-gen, which keep in mind 3-gen is a whole separate issue, which I don't really want to get into. But regardless, order mixed with fucking calm, where you just walk around in treatment mode with a giant heartbeat range, especially if you have distressing too, with a giant heartbeat range, and also your static field heartbeat range, like, you know, makes you madness even more, and especially if you're playing on like a small map. Like I played that exact build on preschool, and it was nuts. Like you would go from tier 2 to tier 3 so fast. I couldn't get any work done at all. I couldn't. Like he would kick a gen, he would leave, I would go to work on it, I would just get to tier 3 just from being in his heartbeat range, which was constant because the map was small, in like 15-20 seconds or something, and then I would have to go snap out of it. He would come down, kick the gen. It just made it like ridiculous, you know what I mean? So that combination is also kind of insane. But aside from that, and aside from Iridescent King, which I also like, for the record, like Iridescent King, like I know it is strong having all those things on you, but like it's really not
that bad.
Yeah, it's really not that bad. Like I don't feel like if a killer has Iridescent King, I don't feel like that oppressed. Like I don't feel nearly as oppressed as like.
It's mildly inconvenient.
Yeah,
that's it. It's just like, oh shit, now I have, AIDS, for the rest of the game because I got shocked 8 times. It's like you walk around, you have crippling depression, and now you got a little bit of,
anxiety and paranoia.
It's just like you just go
get anxiety.
All right, buddy, can we just move on? Can I play against a bully, please?
That's kind of the problem with Doctor in general. So it's just like against Doctor, that's kind of how you feel, but that's just a whole nother discussion. I don't think it's oppressive though.
Yeah, I don't think any of it is. I think the only oppressive thing that I would think of was be the combination I just said of calm and order.
I agree.
And I still think that also has a lot to do with like the whole 3-gen strat, which I think is a whole separate issue. Like if 3-gen strat wasn't a thing, then that would probably be less. I mean, I think it would still be a problem, but it wouldn't be nearly as much of a problem, because you're giving up a lot of like other things by running those 2 add-ons. So,
and it would actually be cool if you used it just to start chases as Doctor instead of make people want to drink a bottle of bleach. Yeah,
exactly. Right. Yeah, but yeah, I think that's about it for Doctor, right? Do we have anything else to say?
God, I wish Doctor was a skill-oriented killer. Like, come on.
No.
Someday. Okay, the Nightmare is next. The Nightmare Kruger is next. Okay, this guy's. I don't really think there's a whole lot of here that's issues. Like I would say
there's just one add-on that I wanna say is just why.
What?
And it's probably the black box, because
yeah,
just one survivor spawning into the game. It just has one survivor who's like, he immediately knows where they are, so he can just go over there and just smack them. It's like, sorry, buddy, he used black box. I guess you're not gonna get to play this game.
Yep, because you're gonna parry it.
I mean, a lot of the. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of the time that I play against a Freddy with black box, all the survivors will just spawn together, and then we'll just wake them up and go on with our lives. That's happened like legit so many times. That happens so many times. Yeah, that's also a problem for a black box. Yeah. I feel like if you're gonna run black box,
I was gonna say, and then you have the games where you just spawn next to a guy. He's like, "Oh man, you're asleep. Let me just slap, clap," and then he used an ultra round.
Well, you should have used the Shroud of Separation, man. Should have used the Shroud.
Boom,
they have an offering for it.
Personally, I think his 2 strongest add-ons are Red Paintbrush and Class Photo.
Yeah, Class Photo is fucking nutty, honestly.
Yeah.
That's not problematic in my opinion.
No.
Yeah, I don't think any of this is really that.
No.
Yeah, I don't think anything that Freddy can do is really like oppressive, honestly. Like
No,
the only thing I can think of
it's
is
the same as Doctor. It's like, why do I want to play?
yeah, like the only thing I can think of is like the synergy with Black Box and like maybe like Dying Light or something would be pretty fucking annoying. But again, that's a Dying Light problem and not a Black Box problem. So, I mean, I really think it's fine. Like red paintbrush can be mixed with monitor and abuse to make you like have like next to no heartbeat at all. But red paintbrush also reduces your movement speed a little bit. So you know, give and take.
Yeah,
which is
I'm
okay
cool with it.
because Freddy is not a 110 killer movement.
Exactly. Yeah,
Movement
he's
speed.
actually default killer. So it's
And
not
it's
that
also,
big of a
it
deal.
doesn't even feel very noticeable. Like, it's not a huge decrease because even if it's like the same like small amount reduced from Hag and Freddy, it's such a big difference losing it on someone who's already so much slower.
Yep.
Like as Freddy, when I use it, I'm like, oh, you know, I feel like I get looped, but I don't even feel like I'm Hag speed. You know, like with
Yeah.
that add-on, I still
Wait, I
feel.
can-
Yeah,
I
same.
can check what the movement speed is.
I mean, while you're checking everything else, like I think Pill Bottle is really strong, but it's not oppressive. Like it pretty much can almost guarantee you a
okay.
free hit. You know what I mean? When they're going in, most of the time.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say. Yeah, it's just good, but it's not like a free hit always because you know if they know the timing of your dream transition, they can just sync up a window
Yep.
or a palette, and
Yep.
you know it's really cool. I do like the mind games around it too. I think it's not oppressive; it's actually fun as a survivor to play against personally.
I think like the blocks and stuff are totally balanced. I think even class photo is fine. Like people are talking about like class photo, no ed, remember me, but again, I think that's a no ed problem and not a class photo problem. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's totally fine. I'm gonna move on to the last killer. I think.
Cool.
All right, the piggy pig. I think we just talked. I mean, we just did a whole podcast on her recently, so I think we can pretty much just quickly touch base on this again. I mean, I guess we can only talk about her problematic shit, which is like nothing. So, I mean, what really is problematic here? I don't even know.
So let me put in 2 cents from a killer perspective on how I see her add-ons as problematic. I think some of her add-ons are fucking useless. That to me is a problem.
That is a problem.
Yep,
I
agree.
don't like how like it's like one side of the spectrum is just like they're unplayable against, and then they're like you can't play with them because god damn it, these suck.
Yeah, I think that's super important. I mean, we're also touching base on that, like whether they're too weak or too strong. I think hers are too weak, yeah, in pretty much like almost every way. Like fucking like Amanda's letter. Like I mean, we had already talked about this in the podcast, I know, so I feel like we're repeating ourselves. But fuck it, we might as well. Like Amanda's letter is one of those add-ons where like I think they thought that her crouching ability was going to be way better than it was, so they gave her Amanda's letter. And it's just kind of shit. Like you would
I also think it could be cool if they made changes to it as well. Like it would be really cool if you actually made the crouch good and had it have effects to where you wanted to use the crouch, right? And it would like it's like one of those Meyer Mirror add-ons where it completely changes how you're gonna play.
Yeah, agreed. Yep. Okay, like what else is garbage? Like her strongest add-ons are like Tampered Timer, the Jigsaw sketches, the Crates of Gears, like those are all very strong.
I still don't think her rule set number 2 disables the abilities for survivors to see the Jigsaw boxes traps unless they have a trap activated is really that much of a problem. Like I guess if it's not activated, it's kind of cool, but not like at the same time like the pressure isn't on really when you don't have an activated trap. The pressure's really on when that shit is ticking, you know?
Yeah, I don't think that's ultra rare worthy at least. Like
I think we talked about like it would be kind of cool if that was just a default thing.
Yeah, I think it should just be default. If not, if it's gonna be an add-on, make it like a fucking common or rare or something.
Like,
I don't know.
With how much time it is, you know, it's like because there's only one thing that reduces the amount of time, you know, it doesn't seem like it would be such a big thing. You know, you just heal, you work on gens until, you know, you eventually maybe come around a box and maybe you check there because it's in the location. And then when the timer starts, it's an actual bigger threat than it is currently. You know, it's just like, oh, I might as well just go do it instead of gens right now, so then I don't have to worry about it. You know, instead of, oh, I actually do have to worry about it.
Personally, I think... Yeah, we're on Pig. We're talking about rule set number 2. I think that rule set number 2 as an ultra rare add-on, I think I think the change should be the exact opposite. Personally, I think that if you haven't a activated trap on you, you don't see the boxes. I don't like that. I think that would be.
I think that would be too strong.
Yeah, fuck
I think
that.
unless you increase the amount of time they get, that's just fucking.
You would have to increase the amount the time
by
they
a
get.
fair bit.
But, yeah,
because,
could you imagine being on Larry's or Swamp? Yeah, Swamp or Larry's and trying to find boxes that aren't. Fuck that, dude. No way. You have to like double the timer at least. Honestly. That would be ridiculous.
I agree that would be awesome, but I think it's way too good, and it would be.
I don't think
awful.
Pig needs any changes. To be honest,
let me say rule set number 2. Okay, rule set number 2. It adds some time, right, moderately or considerably or something, to the trap time, right? But you can't see the boxes, right? Because like we're talking about like. I love these add-ons that let me insta-kill survivors because I got enough evil within and stuff like that. Like, I agree that as she stands right now, it wouldn't fit. But I think that of making her ultra rare actually fun and wanting to use it would be they can't see the boxes anymore, but it takes longer for the trap to go off.
I mean,
that would be a good one.
I would only be down if the timer was increased by a fuck ton. Because
that, in my opinion, seems problematic because then you spend all that time running around not doing gens, and it's, in my opinion, it's an oppressive add-on because you as a survivor waste way too much time searching for shit. I think that's a problem. I think it'd be way too too much of a time investment to have to go around to every box. Not even, like, including the fact that you only have X time before you fucking die, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
I just think it'd be too much of a problem.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting idea, and, like, part of me thinks it would be fun in, like, a certain way, but I also think it would be fucking insanely strong, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then again, it would be an ultra rare. You're not gonna see that as a
but
matter
again, we don't want more oppressive ultra rare.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
and it's not like you really have to like earn that as the pig either. You just down them and hit them too. Like it's not like any other. It's not like on Myers with like the tombstone where you have to stalk for an hour. You know what I mean? Like you just down them and piss them too.
I just wanted to say to your argument though, it's like saying, "Oh, iridescent hatchets are bad." You know, you get what I mean?
didn't say that. I said. Yeah, it would be oppressive, but it wouldn't be oppressive on the level that iridescent hatchets are oppressive.
No, I think it would be.
I don't know.
I think it would be. I think it would be, if not more.
It would be. I
don't think it would be at all fun to run around looking for boxes, you know, to then, you know, die because, oh shit, I didn't get all 5 boxes or 4 boxes. You could get 5 with an add-on very easily.
But like, okay, let me put it this way. We've got killers with Noed, we've got killers with Ruin, right? And the fact that you have to go find these totems, you know what I'm saying? Don't you think that after a while you'd understand where the spawns could be located for the boxes and stuff?
But I don't think that's...
Just another argument, because I'm just trying to, like, just another side of it, because I'm just thinking, like, I don't know. There has to be this middle ground, right? And I'm trying to reach it somehow. Maybe the full end of the spectrum. Maybe not starting with the ultra rare and making it fucking insane, but like maybe starting out with the Hex Third Seal blind actually does something. Might be a good middle ground, you know? Because that does have counterplay, right? You can get rid of the totem. But then again, is that too oppressive? Because then the survivors have to go find the totem? Is my point.
I would say the killer just camps the totem is what I would do. You just camp the totem as a pig by crouching near it if you have someone with a trap on, and they'll die every time. That's the thing with the totem. But that is a question, is how oppressive is it? Because it's also RNG on how fast they get it. It's RNG on how fast they find it because they have no idea where it is, so you can bump into it instantly. Or you could look around. It's also very map dependent because if you're on a bigger map, it is infinitely times better than a smaller map. So it's just, I don't know. In my opinion, it has too many problems with it, and I wouldn't want them to go backwards in terms of design for actual oppression, you know? Like, I think with Pig, yeah, they made a lot of bad add-ons, and I think the actual, like, really bad ones should be changed, and even things could be a part of her base kit. but I don't like the whole not seeing boxes thing because I do think it's oppressive and I think it's way too much of a time waster.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's already a time waste of having to get the hat off even when you know where the boxes are there.
Okay, then how about this? How about this? One extra box by default.
Like on top of what it already does?
Yes. No, not add-on. Like I guess we're kind of getting out of the spectrum of add-ons now, but okay, sorry, never mind. Fuck this discussion. It's fine.
It's more of a thing.
Yeah. We're getting way too in deep.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and hit up. Yeah, hold on. I want to go ahead and hit up her problematic add-ons. Okay, like that's what this whole thing is supposed to be about. We were hitting on rule set number 2 just now, which is obviously not strong enough. Okay, and now like all of our purple ones are pretty okay. Like Amanda's Secret's meh, but it's not like fucking god awful. I mean, it's pretty bad, but it's not like god awful. Amanda's Letter is fucking terrible, but I think that is like one of those things where like if crouching ever became, I think that's more of a her problem where like if they made her crouching better, then Amanda's Letter might be better, because right now her main power is the bear traps and the crouch is just kind of meh. So like removing bear traps is bad, you know. But anyway, and then there's certain add-ons that are just like what, like interlocking razor, like what. Interlocking razor mixed with like razor wires and shit like that, like stuff that's like punish failed skill checks on boxes and give you more skill checks on boxes. Like that's not really good, you know. Like,
everything involving skill checks is terrible.
Like you're basically relying on the survivors not being able to do skill checks, and the skill checks are not that hard. So, like, that's not a good especially for, like, a green add-on, interlocking razor. Like, come on, man. There should be something a little better than that, you know? I mean, aside from that, like, what do you guys think are the major... Like, I think a lot of them are pretty useful. Like, I think the gears are pretty useful. Tamper Timer's useful.
To me why the yellow one to increase boxes doesn't have a downside, but the green one does?
There is no green one to increase boxes. There's not that's the only add-on to increase boxes.
There's a yellow one that increases the boxes by 1.
No, that increases bear traps, dude. Not boxes. Yeah, there's only 2 that increase boxes, and there's only 1 that increases bear traps.
Anyways. Yeah, I guess besides that pig didn't really have anything that's just like a super oppressive. Is just quite the opposite. Some of her add-ons are very lackluster. Yeah,
but honestly I think they did do a good job on a lot of them though.
Some of them are cool. I just think the most powerful ones, like her ultra rares, are like I don't know why they exist, because they're so fucking, they're junk is what they are.
Yeah, but I just want to say, as far as like going forward, as far as general strength of that add-on should be, I feel like things like Tampered Timer, Crate of Gears, Jigsaw Sketch, I think these are pretty good. You know what I mean? Like they're strong.
I do.
They're not like insanely game changing, but they're just enough to give her ability a little bit more oomph. You know, I think I would love to see every add-on be like the strength, not every add-on, but every set of add-ons be like the strength of those. And same thing with like, I think we were talking about Wraith earlier, like assuming if Wraith was a better killer, his add-ons are the same way, you know? Like I think in general as a whole, to like wrap this whole thing up, I think that would be the nice strength, you know what I mean? I don't think add-ons should be as strong as like insta-wines or fucking insta-saws or, you know, any of that shit. I think they should be, you know, like Wraith, Pig, Trapper. Even Trappers could probably use a buff maybe a little, you know. But like, I think those are good strength for add-ons. You know, they're not insanely game changing, but they're just good.
I mean, I think if everyone had something like Windstorm and it was like a Billy, then it would be a problem. I just think Windstorm's not a problem because Wraith isn't anything.
Well, no, I mean, like, you don't think if Wraith, do you think if Wraith got buffed a little and he, like, was a little bit more viable, that Windstorm would be a problem?
Yes.
Really? You do?
I do. If Tinker exists. If Tinker doesn't exist, then I think Windstorm is fine.
Huh.
You want to know what Tinker does to the Windstorm downside? It removes it.
That's yeah, but I think it's okay to trade a perk to
perk slot. Yeah,
to remove the downside.
Also combo it with the like any uncloaks, and then you now have an upside.
But what I'm saying is that Windstorm isn't that like the boost of Windstorm isn't that oppressive that it matters. Like 1.5 seconds speed, like plenty of people run that on me currently, and then try to like Windstorm me in a pallet, and if you just predict them right, you could just drop it in their face, or like if they try to double back, just go that. Like I don't think it's that oppressive. Like what it does, I don't know.
I think gaining 3.45 meters for free is oppressive, personally. Because in a chase, 3.45 meters is that's 5.75 seconds that you'd otherwise would have had to chase them without Windstorm. Not including the factor of it stacks with lunge and double increases, because you have two multipliers that then go on top of each other, so you have 150% of 150%. So I do think Windstorm's oppressive. I just don't think Wraith's the type of killer that makes it oppressive. And I don't think Wraith will ever be a type of killer that will make it oppressive. And so that's why I think Windstorm's alright. But I think Windstorm would be bullshit on other people, like if they had the same sort of power levels, where they got, 6 seconds of a chase just reduced by, using their killer power.
Yeah, I mean...
You get what I mean? Like, it's pretty strong. It's Wraith, right? Like, we don't know Windstorm's strength because you pair it with someone that loses more than 6 seconds by using their killer power. That's the issue, right?
I
so
agree. Imagine
like a Hillbilly or like a Leatherface. Okay, here's a good one. Imagine if Leatherface had it, so at the beginning of the chainsaw sprint, you went 150% speed.
I mean, come on. That's a pretty different comparison of a one-shot down chainsaw.
You know what I'm saying, though?
I mean...
That would be bad, because it would be oppressive. You get what I mean? Like,
okay, well... Then we shouldn't use Wraith as an example, seeing as how he's not in a... Like, I guess Windstorm on Wraith right now is good, and I think even if they buff Wraith, it still might be good, but it's hard to say because we wouldn't know how they would buff him. So instead of using that as an example, I'll just say the pig. We'll just use the pig as an example. Well, I think the amount of effect that, like, the gears and tampered timer and jigsaw sketch, like, her good add-ons are just good. They're not, like, fucking game-changing, like... ruin your life good. They're just like, all right, they make it a little stronger, and I think that's it. I think that should be how things are going forward,
Cool. I think that's all the add-ons, right? Yeah,
I think that's about sums it up. We've been going for a good almost 2 hours, so no fucking emails today. We'll do a whole podcast of emails next week, I think. I think that sounds good. As long as you guys
send in emails.
Hell yeah, dude.
No topic required. Just send in what you're thinking.
Yeah, man. Anything about the game. We don't need any specific. It doesn't have to be about add-ons like this podcast. It doesn't have to be about anything in particular. Anything that you think of about in the game. If you think that this should be in the game or that should be in the game or this should be taken out. Anything. It doesn't matter. Send us your emails, man. Daylightcastpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your emails. Daylightcastpodcast@gmail. It'll be below the video as well. You can find it there. Just send us your emails. Say whatever, dude. Even if you want to call us a bunch of idiots, you know what I mean? Just do it. We just love getting emails, And we'll make the entire next week's podcast just answering emails. So feel free to send in what you got, and we'll answer it. But yeah, I think that's about it for today, right? We don't got much else to say. Do you guys have any like closing statements for the add-ons?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I think I said my piece. I would like to see them generally toned to like a certain... I think perks and add-ons in general should be toned to just a slight buff in power and not a game... I don't think any perks or add-ons should be game-changing, you know what I mean? And I think they need to be adjusted a little. That's all I gotta say.
I agree.
Alright, well then I guess we're getting the fuck on up out of here. So, our guest today, as always, we have the same crew every day. We have Reexapples. Great Killer Main, streams at twitch.tv/ReexApples, plays Survivor sometimes a little bit too, but he's mostly a killer player, and he's really fucking good, and he's a cool guy. Mathman200, who also streams at twitch.tv/Mathman200, who is probably the best Survivor player in the game, as well as a pretty good killer player, and just a generally awesome fucking guy. Go check out his stream as well. We have Atro, Knifebird, fucking, I don't even know what to call you anymore, you have so many names, I don't even know. He's our German memer. And he doesn't stream or do YouTube or much, so I don't know. But he's here too. And you guys probably know me.
I made the podcast. I think that's something.
Oh yeah, you did make the podcast. He's the reason that we're all here.
We forget that sometimes.
Yeah. He's the reason that we're all here, okay? It's because of Atro. Alright, and I'm Tofu. You guys probably know me. I stream at twitch.tv/showtofu. If you guys are on my YouTube channel watching this, you probably know me. And, yeah. That's about it. I think we're getting out of here. See you guys later.
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 See ya!